Samsung have just released their brand new foldables, and here's everything that you need to know about them. We'll start with the new Flip 7, and to sum this new generation up, everything just got bigger. The inside screen is now 6.9 inches diagonally, up from the 6.7 inches from last year, but the extra screen real estate isn't the only benefit of this upgrade. Due to the increased frame size, Samsung were able to fit a bigger battery inside the Flip, going from a 4000 mAh to a 4300 mAh, which should make a significant difference for those heavier users. We've also seen an upgrade to the cover screen. It's now 4.1 inches and covers pretty much the entirety of the front panel, similar to other flagship foldables. It's now a brighter 120Hz display on the outside, making this phone more usable than ever when closed. The new cover screen wraps around the two cameras, both of which seem to remain the same from the last generation, with a 12 megapixel ultra wide and a 50 megapixel main camera, and that 10 megapixel front facing camera. But with Samsung software tweaks and cool AI features, these cameras will be more than usable for most people. The downside to this generation though is that Samsung has reverted back to using the Exynos chip rather than the Snapdragon used in the Flip 6. This necessarily isn't a bad chip, it's just not as good as the Snapdragon 8 Elite that's in the Fold. All in all though, it's a pretty decent upgrade from the previous generation. Now let's talk about the Fold 7, as this is the biggest overhaul upgrade since the Fold 2. Now if you've watched my video on whether Samsung is still the king of foldables, you'll know that there's some pretty glaring issues with the Fold. As an editor's note, if you haven't already, make sure you go check out that video. But the main issue is that Samsung have become complacent over the years, making only minor tweaks to the design as well as the spec sheet. That has changed this year though, with Samsung finally catching up to the competitors currently available on the market. The Fold 7 is significantly thinner and lighter than the previous generation, while also increasing the overall size of the phone. When closed, the phone is 8.9mm thin, and with major improvements to the insides including the hinge, the whole thing now only weighs 215 grams, which is actually lighter than the S25 Ultra. In terms of actual screen size, the inside screen once unfolded is now 8 inches corner to corner, and the folded outer display is now 6.5 inches with a slightly wider aspect ratio, making it feel more like a traditional smartphone. The other big issue with the Fold series was its cameras. For the price you were paying, you never really felt like you were getting flagship level performance, and whilst that's still not the case, we are a lot closer to that. With a 200 megapixel main camera, the same one that's used in the S25 Ultra, a 12 megapixel ultra wide, a 10 megapixel telephoto, and the front facing camera is also 10 megapixels. The camera on the inside display is now a hole punch design rather than being hidden behind the screen, and that's probably due to the performance issues, but this is also 10 megapixels. Unlike the Flip, the Fold is using the Snapdragon 8 Elite processor that we spoke about earlier, and this should give the phone some serious performance power. It's just a shame that Samsung refused to upgrade the batteries on these phones, as we're still stuck with the 4400 mAh that we had in the previous generation. It's huge upgrades across the whole lineup, specifically with the Fold. It finally feels like Samsung can justify that extra price tag and make this one of their flagship devices. And as for the Flip, it's still right now the best performance to value ratioed folding phone that's on the market. Let me know what you think of Samsung's new foldable devices in the comments.